Hello and welcome to another video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scout. My name is Joe and today I'm joined by Fantasy Football Scout Deputy Editor Tom Freeman, who will be revealing his Game Week 1 team as it is with only a few days to go before deadline. They do change and we will get more information towards the end of the week. We'll also see if some of that information has come from the Community Shield and whether that's altered his thinking. We'll also consider options from his team, Aston Villa, who do get, those players do get a run out in the team. So a bit of a spoiler there. Welcome, Tom. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Joe. Yeah, I had quite a busy weekend. I worked on Sunday, so covered a lot of the friendlies from yesterday for Scout and also the Community Shield, which you just touched on then. So yeah, looking forward to chat it all through. Been a couple of weeks since I did my last kind of video, so it's probably changed a little bit since then.
Okay, rightio. Yeah, they're all changing. Mine's changed every hourly, daily. Who knows what I'll end up with come Friday. Okay, before we go on, just a reminder, do press that like button, does help us out. Do remember to subscribe, keep up to date with our latest videos and podcasts. And do check out membership offers at Fantasy Football Scout. Lots of interesting data there and tools and gadgets to help you climb up your mini leagues. One of which we will be featuring on this show, looking at DEFCON points, defensive contribution points, from the Community Shield. So we'll see how some of those key targets got on. But first of all, without further ado, we'll get your team. So we'll get up on the screen. So for the benefit of our podcast listeners, do you want to just quickly run through the names, and then we'll go back to the goalkeeper and so on, and look at some of your rationale there.
Yeah, sure. So still in a 3-5-2 formation with Sells in goal. I've got Milenkovic, Kukurea and Konza in defence. Gone big in midfield. Got Salah, Palmer and Saka, and then with Tielemans and Rutter. Rutter's been in all of my drafts, I think, since the game launch. So looking forward to having a chat to you, Joe, about that as well in a bit. And then up front, I've got Watkins and Fulkrug as well. He's had a really promising pre-season. On the bench, like a lot of people, Dubravka, and then Anderson, Hartman. And I'm not quite sure how to pronounce his name.
Call him Gooey.
Let's go with Gooey. I can definitely do that one. So.
Okay, so just a few things to consider there. Obviously, still sticking with that sort of 3-5-2, 4-4-2. It could be. So Mark Gooey there, really enabling that as well. And we've also got some midfield, cheaper midfield players. There's Dewsbury Hall. We can go further down to that one, but you've got Junior Ruta. You've got quite a few options around that sort of 6.5 mark to help out on getting those premiums, because this is I would say a 4 premium side: Salah, Palmer, Saka, Watkins. So it's 4 there, and I like that because it's got lots of cash cows. So if you need to get Haaland, for example, you can move a player down. And then get the money up, and so on. Fernandes, for example, Bruno Fernandes, easy to get with this formation.
Yeah, I think with Saka, I'm really looking at those first 2 fixtures and that Leeds fixture in game week 2. But after that point, Arsenal fixtures drop off a little bit until game week 7. So there could be an opportunity there to maybe move to Fernandes in game week 3 to get the Burnley match or something like that. And I don't mind having one position in the team there where you are kind of eyeing up future moves with that. You don't want to do that too much, I don't think. No. But with Saka, that might be possible. No.
Okay, so when we talk about Salah, we'll talk about Salah in a minute. Well, actually, we'll talk about it with your defence in terms of DEFCON and from the Community Shield as well. So have you always not had a Liverpool defender, or is that a fairly recent thing?
No, I haven't had one in, actually. Okay. I think we spoke about it. I think we spoke about Van Dijk last time when we were talking about DEFCON potential. My concern at the time was maybe the fullbacks changing, Gravenberch being out from game week 1. And having watched yesterday, I kind of still feel that way. I think Liverpool will become a very solid unit, but it might just take a few weeks to get to that point. So for now, I've instead preferred Kukurea over Van Dijk.
And yes, while Liverpool have Bournemouth at home, then they've got Newcastle away. We don't know what state they're going to be in, but it's still Newcastle away.
Yeah.
And then you've got Arsenal at home. Just checking with Newcastle. Yeah, that's the first Newcastle home game of the season. Then they've got Arsenal at home, and then they've got Burnley.
Then it's good,
which is good at game week 4. So that's when you sort of want more Liverpool assets for that
Yeah.
one. So I'll just put a table up, and this is from the members area at Fantasy Football Scout. It's the DEFCON total DEFCON points, defensive contribution points, which are new this season. Got to get, is it 12 for a defender, 10 for a midfielder, or have I got that the wrong way around?
10 for a defender, 12 for a midfielder.
Rightio, yeah, 10 for a defender, 12 for a midfielder. So they're the sort of benchmarks that you've got to be going to. So you want players that are getting in and around that sort of level and to get a chance of that extra points there. This shows that it was actually Wirtz who got 10, so he's getting a good amount of defensive contributions, and that made me want to have him more in my side. Munoz as well. We knew about his defensive contributions. The members area showed us that, and so he's doing really well for defensive contributions and his attacking threat. Konate actually got 9. Meanwhile, Van Dijk just got the 6, and because they shipped a couple of goals, and Konate, who's cheaper, got more defensive contributions than Van Dijk. That started to make people's heads turn. So that's I think you might be onto something with no Liverpool early on.
Maybe, yeah. What I will say is Van Dijk massively outperformed Konate last year for DEFCON. Right. So I think if you give it a 6 to 8 match sample, I think then Van Dijk will start to come into his own. But Van Dijk did have a poor match yesterday. Obviously gave away the penalty and then he was a bit out of position for the second. But yeah, it might just take a little bit of time. They haven't got Gravenberch game week 1. That's probably the main clean sheet game you're looking at in the first 3 game weeks. So it might be you might have to wait till Burnley to start seeing those decent returns come in, which I'm sure they will eventually.
Okay, we'll go back to your team there. So that's who's not in your defence. So go through your defence and include the goalkeeper in there as well. So you've got Sells, and Milenkovic. So you like the Nottingham Forest defence early on, clearly.
Yeah, I've been on that for a few weeks now. I could do a Chelsea double up with Sanchez as well, but I think after the Colwill injury, I just feel a bit more comfortable. Sells they've both got good clean sheet potential, I would say, in 4 of the first 6 game weeks.
Yeah.
Milenkovic Murillo is close. I think I've seen a lot of people go for Murillo. Murillo probably edges it for DEFCON points. Milenkovic has got a bit more goal threat. Murillo likes a shot, but he likes a shot from a long way out, whereas Milenkovic is getting set pieces closer to goal, I think. So that's there. It could be Murillo, but I do like that double up for the first 6 game weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I like Sells because I don't really like the Chelsea defence at the moment. Yeah. And I think you've got to spend 5 million. I think all the 4.5s are terrible. Or look like they could be.
And Calais missed. I think he'll be all right, but he missed the friendly at the weekend as well. So then you're kind of down to Petrovic for Bruggen. Not totally convinced.
No, not very. So that's why I like Sells there. So it's just a question of whether you double up. Really, I've seen a few treble ups actually. Cucurella, can get forwards. Now you've got Anderson on the bench and Hartman. Hartman, a Burnley player.
Yes, correct.
So why have you got Hartman? What is it about Hartman? Because I've seen like Goodmanson, Roden from Leeds as the 4.0. I presume Electric Steve, Steve from Burnley, another 4 million. Hartman, I presume, is 4 million as well.
Yeah, that's a more recent thing. I was on a Esteve before, or Steve, or however you pronounce it. I was on him before. I was on him, and then Hartman. He's come in this summer. He's a wing. He played as a wing back at the weekend. Burnley, I think, are going to go to a back 5 or a back 3 or whatever you want to call it at this season. I think they'll have to. He's pretty advanced, and he was taking some corners at the weekend as well.
Okay.
Now I'm tempted to play him in game week 2 against Sunderland. I'm pretty sure that will be his only run out in my team.
Okay.
But in game week 2 against Sunderland, wing back. I think he's a bit more exciting than the one of the centre backs.
So he's there for rotation. Burnley have got Tottenham to start, not great. Manchester United away, not great. Liverpool at home, not great.
It's bench fodder.
Yeah, it's bench fodder
generally. Yeah.
So you're playing Conser, Newcastle at home. Now we've spoken before about the Aston Villa attack against Newcastle. They've got a good goal scoring record. I can see Newcastle scoring though, and Conser hasn't been doing well on defensive contribution. So I wonder why you're fielding him over, say, for example, Anderson, who's against Brighton, and Fulham do well against Brighton.
Yeah, I did see that last week. I favoured the home defender because obviously Isak probably isn't going to play for
No,
Newcastle.
he won't.
Villa improved towards the end of last
Hmm.
season. We kept quite a few clean sheets. He's probably not an ideal pick for game week 1, but what Konza is, he's a 4.5 who you can probably play in every week for the first 6 game weeks because of the fixtures.
Hmm.
I don't think there's many 4.5s you can do that, and because I'm going in with that heavy midfield,
Yeah,
something needs to give somewhere, and
yeah,
it probably is in that defensive
yeah.
area. I had Robinson in all of my drafts. He's
Hmm.
obviously got injured for Fulham now.
Yeah.
Sessegnon's got injured as well. So, but Anderson should do well for Defcons, and I think Fulham will do better defensively this year. I think they'll keep more clean sheets.
Have you considered, instead of, say, Anderson, for example,
Yeah,
going for either Wan-Bissaka or Diouf at West Ham, who have Sunderland
yeah.
in the first game week, and then, as you said, Aston Villa. Aston Villa's, yes, against Brentford, Crystal Palace maybe, Everton. So there's at least couple of clean sheets there. I don't know about Newcastle. It just the rotation
That
might be a little better.
yeah, that's what I did in the last draft, Joe. I had
Oh, okay.
Wan-Bissaka in one of those spots. I just think Sunderland first home game of the season.
Yeah,
I think they'll score in that.
yeah,
And then you've got a run of, that's the fixture for West Ham, isn't it? That's what
yeah,
everybody's
yeah.
kind of putting their hopes on. I think I would go Wan-Bissaka over Diouf. I know Diouf has looked quite good in
Hmm.
pre-season. Well, he has in the past couple of games. He had a bit of a rotter at the one before that. And I
Yeah.
just worry that he's young, he's coming into a new league.
Hmm.
I think he's pretty nailed on there, but I think I
Okay.
would go for that security of
Yeah.
Wan-Bissaka if I was going to switch it.
I mean, another option is Rodon or Goodmanson at Leeds. Both
Yeah,
look nailed on. And Leeds' first fixture is not too bad at home to Everton.
Everton. Yeah,
Everton's attack-wise, I'm not as convinced by it. It is the first Leeds home game.
yeah.
And then, obviously, you can put him on the bench. So instead
I
of
would.
Hartman, perhaps a Leeds one?
Yeah, I kind of get. Yeah, I kind of need to think it through. I was thinking I need Hartman in game week 2,
Yeah.
so there's a potential to bring in a Leeds defender, but I'm not totally against playing Konza against
Okay.
Newcastle.
Okay.
It may be not ideal, but I don't mind it. No.
Okay. Let's go into midfield. So we're going to try and keep this to sort of 20, 25 minutes. And I realise
Okay.
we've just gone concert deep. So we need to go across your
Okay.
midfield. So this is where you're hoping all the points are.
Yeah,
I
sure.
don't think we need to say too much about Palmer. Obviously, a talisman on penalties for Chelsea. Crystal Palace looked good in the Community Shield. Another thing to take away,
They
we can get
did.
there.
Yeah.
But if they score, it really doesn't matter for Palmer that much. You lose the one clean sheet point. It's the
Yeah.
attack you want there.
Yeah.
So let's move to Salah though. So I have tried a draft with Salah out and Haaland in instead.
Yeah.
And Haaland, I actually quite like against Wolves as a captain, against Tottenham as a captain, against Brighton as a captain, against Manchester United as a captain, all the way up. And that's apart from Bournemouth at home and then Burnley away, those middle two for Liverpool, Newcastle and Arsenal,
Yeah.
I don't really like him as the captain. So, and I kind of
Yeah.
like it. So, are you still just you're not like me, influenced by one game, but are you still stuck on Salah as a captain
Well,
and in your team?
I didn't have Salah for a long time at the end of last season, so I'm not kind of worried about that in the sense that you're going up against Salah. That doesn't really bother me, but it's that reliability.
Yeah.
He always starts strong in seasons, and I know he looked a bit off yesterday, but Anfield on Friday night, I think it'll be different. He always starts strong, and it's that reliability as a captain. You're not going to captain Ekitike. I'm not quite there with captain inverts yet. I need to see more from that. So if you want to captain a player from Liverpool, I think it probably needs to be Salah.
Yeah.
And I'm going to need him for captaincy in 1, 4, and 5, I think. Because I've got Saka, that takes care of game week 2. He'll be a captain against Leeds. So kind of just with that little rotation there, I think I'm still on Salah. I kind of thought yesterday, if I do take Salah out, I want 2 Liverpool attackers to kind of cover that. I think, but no, I'm pretty set. I'm pretty sure he'll be on my team on Friday.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously I'll probably go back to him, but I might not.
Yeah,
And I do like Haaland as well.
yeah, I
Yeah,
do.
Wirtz was the one that really impressed me because he was on
Yeah,
the set pieces. So you
he
just think
was.
There's really strong assist potential there,
Yeah.
a lot of involvement, and he could get some DEFCON points as well. He could be like a
Maybe.
Bruno Fernandes in terms of a
Yeah.
midfielder that gets that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Saka there. Now, there's something we spoke about before. Saka is great for the first game week. I think Manchester United's still good, but the
It's not
second
bad,
game
is
week,
it?
it's the Leeds
Yeah.
game really, and then you can
Yeah.
move him on.
That's the idea.
He's a bit more than
Yeah.
Bruno Fernandes, and Bruno Fernandes, by happy coincidence, will know more about his point scoring under the new system, the DEFCON. By game week 3, which by happy coincidence, I'm just looking down the fixture list, he's at home to Burnley.
Yeah.
So Saka does look like a good move to pencil in there, sort of a Saka or Bruno spot, but perhaps not both.
Exactly,
Yeah.
Joe. That's the exactly thinking behind it. Start with Saka, who looked really sharp at the weekend. I know it's pre-season. I know we shouldn't read too much into it, but just the whole Gyökeres link up, Odegaard, Zubamende on that side of the pitch, I kind of think it looked really good. I think I'm quite. I like doing something maybe a little bit different to 99% of the drafts that you see online, and Saka might be that little difference maker.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, he's the so looking at game week 2 in terms of the captaincy,
he's the top captain
Liverpool
pick,
away
yeah.
at Newcastle. So yeah, Salah's not the best option there. Haaland at home to Spurs is a good option,
Yeah.
but not. But the best one on paper, that really is Arsenal at home to Leeds. So Saka will be. So you'll see that the sort of price rise for Saka going into game week 2, because people see that fixture, I think.
Especially, yeah, if they go to Old Trafford and win there, which I think they probably will do. Having watched them in pre-season and where they're at, then that interest will start, because people won't look too far ahead, will they, Joe?
No,
you know what
definitely.
it's like.
Now the next two in midfield as well. So you've got Tielemans there. How much is Tielemans?
6 million.
Okay, 6 million. Why have you gone for him? And what's the latest with Morgan Rogers? Because that sort of place in many teams, mine included, but others, it's sort of Morgan Rogersy at the moment. But he's got an injury to his ankle, we think.
Yeah, this place was Rodgers until he picked up this ankle injury. So it was against Roma last Wednesday. I went to the game. It was at the Bescott in Warsaw. And he came on at half time, and then within just like a few minutes, he went down. He kind of fell awkwardly.
Yeah.
He tried to run it off, signaled to the bench. He ran off the pitch, and I will say he ran off the pitch. He didn't look in any discomfort. He kind of went straight down the tunnel, but obviously something was causing him a bit of an issue. He was never going to play against Villarreal or Marseille at the weekend. I'm still hopeful that he might play against Newcastle on Saturday, but we need a positive update from Emery because we haven't got that yet. Marlon, I'm not convinced he's going to start against Newcastle, so I've gone for Tielemans. He got a cracking assist last week against Roma. He's on some free kicks. He's on some corners. I think he'll do well for DEFCONs, or he'll do okay. Not Elliot Anderson levels, but he'll tick over. And he's that 90-minute man. And so that's my kind of thinking. It may well change. I want triple Villa, I think. So if I'm not going to go for Rodgers in midfield, he's the next best.
Right, and just check, there is definitely 0 in the bank here. You don't have any. So, and the last one, Jorginho Ruta, he's in there. He's been in all your drafts. He's your your punt there for.
Yeah, I put him in, and I think I said last time I made notes last season about it, and I put him in as soon as the game launched, and he hasn't gone out, and he played up top instead of Welbeck at the weekend. I'm not sure if that's a thing for this season, but it looked like a first 11 that he played in that match. So,
I think the way it stands at the moment, because the two Greek strikers they brought in will be eased in and a backup at the moment, but it is basically Jorginho Ruta and Welbeck are the ones to consider as the number 9. O'Reilly, the manager, really likes as the number 10. But then Ruta could go to the number 10 if Welbeck starts at number 9. Ruta can play in a variety of positions. So I think, yes, it'll be Minte, Matoma, Ruta probably, or Welbeck. And so then there is O'Reilly or Ruta.
So there is a bit of risk.
There's a risk, but almost in those two scenarios I've presented, they both involve Ruta.
Yeah, yeah.
but only one involves Welbeck.
We just don't know where he's going to be, but probably somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like him.
Yeah.
I've seen a bit of
Okay.
interest start picking up online about
Yeah.
him, but Fulham and then Everton,
Yeah.
it's a decent-ish start. So
Okay, so Watkins, probably not much more we can say about that. He scores goals, and he's been scoring goals,
yeah,
and
yeah,
he's a night.
he looks
Well,
good.
not
Yeah.
not quite 90 minutes, but getting there. He doesn't really. Well, they've got a new striker in, so yeah. Will we
Well,
see? I mean, he's pretty. He's going to be the number 9, isn't he? Presumably.
yeah, I think Gessandu's come in. I think he will be more for the wider roles. I think occasionally he can come in for
Okay.
Watkins. It actually looks like Marlon's going to be the main backup to Watkins. He spent a lot of
Okay.
time in pre-season as a backup
Right. Yeah.
striker, but
Okay.
Watkins spoke last night after the goal
Okay.
in Spain, talking about how much he's enjoyed pre-season and how sharp he feels. And
Okay.
this wasn't the case last year. Didn't have a pre-season, so he's absolutely locked in the team.
Okay. The final player we'll mention really. I mean, there is Dubravka on the bench, but you say if he's going to start for Burnley, 4 million, it's a
Yeah, yeah.
no-brainer. But is Fulkrug there? How much is he? And I know a lot of the models are favouring Thiago Silva at Brentford's. They've in
Yes,
that sort of price bracket. I assume he's around that.
he
and
is.
and
Yeah.
also Strand Larson at Wolves. But yeah, why have you gone for Fulkrug, and how much is he?
So he's £6 million.
Okay.
He's had a really good pre-season. He's scored in 3 games in a row, and his partnership with Bowen looks really, really strong.
Okay.
He spoke about it at the weekend. We've got some scout notes on the site, which Neil wrote up with some really nice quotes in there. Um, I saw him in an interview a couple of weeks ago, and I immediately made a mental note to kind of monitor him. I think he looked really positive in that interview. He's a really good team player. He's very popular in the dressing room. He's got a good mentality. So it was just the question mark over his fitness, and he's actually been building up his minutes. I think he played 90 at the weekend. Callum Wilson has gone in, but he hadn't had a pre-season, so he's not going to feature in the first
Yeah.
few
Yeah.
weeks.
Okay.
If doubts set in, I think the striker I would go up to was Evan Elson. He's the one that I like as an alternative. I'm not so keen on Thiago at Brentford or Barry at Everton, but that would require going Saka to Wirtz. So that's the kind of switch I'd be thinking about
Okay.
if I did want to go up to Evan Elson.
Yeah.
But I do quite like Fulkrug. The fixtures aren't brilliant after game week 1. I'll admit that.
Yeah.
But they're okay. They're not terrible.
Yeah, I mean, Perot at Leeds is another option, probably more short term because we're not sure
Yeah.
if he's going to be any good in the Premier
Look
League.
to
But,
him, yeah.
but I would say what you just described there of like moving away with what you've got and moving Saka to Wirtz,
Yeah.
that sort of destroys all the last 20 minutes because for you.
Yeah.
So it's too radical because you've already said, oh, Saka's the best captain
Yeah,
game
yeah.
2. I think so
Yep.
too. Could do well at Old Trafford. Price will go up, and then Bruno Fernandes in game week 3 might be a good switch, and we'll. I mean, it's just
I
that
think
sounds like a good plan.
I'm pretty set on that. It would just be
Yeah.
if I wanted to go full Krug Evan Nilsson, I need to make 1 million. I could go Tillemans to Dewsbury Hall or something. That could be another way of getting 1 million.
Yeah.
There's a couple of options, but I think I've kind of got Saka into my head a bit now.
Yeah.
And full Krug, I think he could start well.
Yeah, definitely. He'll be a differential as well. Okay, well, thanks so much for that. It's really good to get your team there. There's a lot of different players in there, which will be good. So hopefully in the chat below, you won't say, oh, another template team. Is it really with full Krug and Tielemans? I don't think it is template. So yeah, some interesting picks there.
I think my teams, they're never going to be for everybody, but I hope by talking it through, you can see why I've picked them, and I'll do a proper team reveal on the Fantasy Football Scout site as well later this week, where I may be going into a little bit more detail on some of the, like you said, the non-template picks, I suppose.
Excellent. Well, thanks a lot for your time. Just another reminder, do press that like button, helps us out, and do remember to subscribe as well. Plenty more video and podcast content this week coming up. Lots and lots of team reveals, especially. I'll be back recording with FPL General tomorrow, but there's plenty more all week. Good luck with the game week. Take care. See you soon.
Thanks, Joe.